Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. We are missing 2 members, but I'm told they'll be here a little late. So Valeria, if you can just note who's here. We do have a quorum, so we can proceed. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda and strike section 4, the presentations, just because we're outside and due to the weather. So that's ASB, PTA, health and safety.
Second the motion.
Okay, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
We need a vote on it, or did you take it?
Oh, you take it?
You made the motion, you seconded, right?
Yes. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we did receive quite a bit of correspondence. It's all attached. It'll be part of the minutes. It seems that they're basically along 2 main topics. One of the action items, which is recording, broadcasting our meetings, and the second being the notification of meetings. We'll take public comment here in a second, but I did want to make a comment about the notification of meetings. I know there was some confusion last week about when the meeting was, and I apologize for that. But in today's meeting, you'll see that we annually come up with our list of meetings. And so then somebody has to put it on the calendar. I'm not sure who does that, but there was a mistake that was made. And then when it was caught, it was corrected. So nobody's trying to fool anyone here, but I admit I also didn't know, and I know Steve showed up last week. So I'm sorry for the confusion, but there is annually a list that's published for all the meetings. And so with that, I'd like to open public comment. And public comment is anything on the agenda or school related that anybody wishes to talk about. We allow 3 minutes. And so, go ahead and use your 3 minutes. If you don't, that's fine. More people can talk. But I also want to just make the point, there's another comment that was made was not allowing public comment. And people have been here seeing we've extended times. We've always allowed everybody to make public comment if they want to. So I have a list. Valeria, do you have some other ones?
Yeah.
I'll start with these. Okay, so first up is Mike Goling. And I'll just say who's on deck. That way we can keep it moving. Carrie Friend is up next.
You okay?
Yeah.
Push the button, sorry.
Well, I can hear you. I'm close.
How about that?
Yeah.
We're all close.
You need to talk into the mic though, so that everyone at home can hear you.
Okay, I'm going to hand you a petition that I had people sign. I sat out in front of the carnival here. It wasn't a fun day for me. I wasn't trying to ruin anyone's day. I was just trying to get something done. So here's most of those are parents that agree that we should have vaccine choice. So my name is Mike Goling. I'm not here because I want to be. I'm here because there is a threat to my children. Threat is not COVID. Threat is the vaccine. It's killing people. Vaccine is not fully approved yet, so the governor's mandate is not in effect yet. But sooner than you think, the wolf will be at our door. If this thing can't be stopped in the courts, it's going to be up to you. And I really wanted to talk to these two. Hopefully this is being recorded so they can listen to it. Okay, so if it can't be stopped, it's up to you. Vaccine is killing people, not a joke, folks. And nobody knows what kind of long-term effects it has. It's experimental. Why would we do this? The vaccine, okay. Some California school boards have already voted to not enforce the governor's mandate. You guys need to get ahead on this. You must not enforce this mandate. If you do, and our kids are maimed or killed, how will you live with yourselves? How will any of us live with ourselves? That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Carrie Friend is next, and then Susan Matthias is up after that.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Smith. I served on this board for 8 years, from 2010 to 2018. Serving on the board can be challenging and it's hard to please everyone. Individuals have different backgrounds, viewpoints, and opinions. Board policies and bylaws exist to guide you in listening to stakeholders and to make the best decisions to model the main point of Cayucos Elementary School District, where every student is welcomed, challenged, and inspired. I've been observing the recent struggles of this board and superintendent. It saddens me that there is such strife and turmoil, taken away from the focus for the most important stakeholders there are, the students. I believe in transparency in all actions of the board. When I was on the board, I tried to have meetings recorded and posted online, but I was not supported by my board. Because the board would not, I recorded the meetings myself and posted them on YouTube. I am disheartened to hear that at last month's board meeting, Superintendent Smith stated something along the lines that one reason he did not want to record the meeting was because of me, that I used to do that, and that I took them out of context. I would ask you to consider the implications of the statement. How can the video be taken out of context? This statement by Superintendent Smith implies that transparency is not valued. I do not know if any of you board members responded to the statement, as the minutes from the October meeting have not been posted. Silence means consent. If no board member responded, a logical conclusion is board members also do not value transparency. There are other people here to speak about recording and posting the board meetings online. I would like to speak to you about your minutes. Board Bylaw 9324 reads in part, the minutes shall include, only a brief summary of the board's discussion. The minutes shall include the specific language of each motion and the names of board members who made and seconded the motion. I ask you to include a brief summary of the board's discussion in the minutes and also to include the specific language of each motion. Continuing with the bylaw. The minutes shall reflect the names of those individuals who comment during the meeting's public comment period, as well as the topics they address. I can't read. Sometimes this is done and sometimes it is not. I ask you to be consistent in the minutes reflecting the names of individuals commenting during meetings, public comment period, as well as the topics they address. In April, I was bringing up a point and I was muted. That is against government code that denied my access to the meeting. Continuing on with the bylaw, the superintendent, principal, or designee shall distribute a copy of the unapproved minutes of the previous meeting with the agenda for the next regular meeting. The board shall approve the minutes as circulated or with necessary amendments. I ask that unapproved minutes be attached to the agenda when the agenda is published. I've emailed about this over at least 4 times. I emailed Ms. Campos in March and April of 2020. In April of 2020, I forwarded my concerns to Superintendent Smith, who never ever responded. September 21, I emailed the same concerns, and there was with a relevant board policy, there was no response whatsoever. I am simply asking you to follow your own approved board bylaw. Remember the most important things I mentioned? They are watching. Do the right thing and follow your own bylaws. Character.
Thanks, Carrie. That's 3 minutes. Thank you. Okay, Susan Matthias, and then next up is Charlie Likes.
My 35 years of employment by this district, I have rarely felt the need to address the board. When I have, it has been to praise a colleague or to make a teacher's report. Lately, however, I have noticed a change in the temperament of leadership here that troubles me deeply. It's my understanding that a superintendent's job is to implement policies of the local board, the county, and the state. This includes policies regarding the health and welfare of our children and staff. It's a big job, but it comes with an equally large salary. I am sure there are plenty of people who would love to serve as our superintendent and who could do the job well. Cayucos is a special place, and I think that we should settle for nothing short of the best. This brings me to the main reason I am here tonight. Part of my September correspondence letter to the board was critical of Superintendent Scott Smith's behavior regarding Brandy Likes, whom he sent home on December 8, 2020. I believe she was sent home because she consistently pointed out failures by the administration.
Excuse me, you're talking about a personnel issue? Do you have firsthand knowledge of what went on in any conversation with her? Firsthand knowledge, were you there? That's a yes or no question.
Yes.
You were there.
Emails.
No, you were there.
Can we let her finish, please?
This is a personnel issue we're talking about. It's confidential.
Mr. Smith, make it not confidential.
Last month. I believe.
That name never came up at this board.
No, but
Never.
let me speak. I believe she was sent home because she consistently pointed out failures by the administration to abide by the state guidelines concerning COVID. After reviewing the correspondence on the topic and listening to what's come to be referred as Scott's rant, I am more convinced that Scott did what I originally believed he had done. He sent Brandy away rather than deal with her very legitimate concerns regarding the health of our children and staff. He has now decided to engage in practicing revisionist history to advance his agenda. In your rant, Scott, you referenced a staff member. The only person he could be referring to was Brandy Likes. Anyone who knows Brandy knows that the idea of her referring to a child, any child, as a time suck is ridiculous. As the emails clearly state, she thought the paperwork was a time suck. Furthermore, if you really believe she referred to a child in that manner, why was she never fired? Instead, she was employed for several more months and was only taken off the employment list by her own request. It's clear that you made that up to cover your own tracks. Did you forget that people might be saving correspondence? To you, the board, Scott violated confidentiality protocols by discussing a staff member's employment in public, and he did so dishonestly. I think that you'll be lucky if Brandy doesn't sue over this behavior. Scott's rant about Roberta being the leader of a conspiracy makes me wonder about his ability to handle the stress of the job. At the very least, you should demand that Scott publicly apologize to Brandy and Roberta. You need to review the superintendent and principal's actions during this time. This administration is clearly lacking leadership and professionalism. Cayucos are better. In conclusion, I believe that meetings to make them readily available will promote a more professional and responsible discourse between the board, the superintendent, and the public you serve. That's the next logical step towards accountability and transparency that this community deserves. Thank you.
I respond to that because I got your correspondence, Susan, and I read it. I was concerned. And for 2 days, I've investigated every aspect of what you said in your letter. And I'm telling you, there's falsehoods in there, specific. And I'm not going to go into them, but I did research it because I was very concerned if that happened, there would be extreme action taken. So I just want you to be aware, when you're not first person and you were not there to come in and tell us what happened, everybody here knows their situation, but there's two sides to every coin. And I wanted to find out what the other side was.
Charlie,
Comment in the back. I'm not disputing what Scott said about Roberta. I'm not disputing that. And I'm not disputing it was right either. Okay? Or it was wrong. That's not the issue here. The issue is all the things that are being claimed in that letter that aren't true. That's my concern.
Can I just speak up and say, I think you misspoke and you meant Brandy.
I'm sorry?
I think you misspoke and you meant Brandy. You said
No.
things Scott said about Roberta.
Right. That was at the meeting last month. That's correct.
he said he wasn't disagreeing.
Right. Went after a whole bunch of people.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
So, just to be clear, I think the most important thing here is that people do it right. And it's interesting when you say there's two sides. It's most important.
Charlie, speak into the microphone.
Oh, let me raise it up. Yeah, so I can certainly. I'm obviously married to Brandy, and I can, I know for a fact that she would never refer to a student as a time suck. And I think anybody and everybody that's worked with her would say the same thing. So if you've asked, and this whole thing is, it's really a shock, so, and just from a personal perspective, Brandy had been working for well over half a year at another job, and somebody from this administration called her her new job and said that she was not welcome there. So that's, that was really the impetus, and for me to speak out, because that's just wrong. That's someone broke the rules there. You can't do that. But again, I invite you to speak to any staff and that knows Brandy, and they'll say, she would never say that. It just doesn't make any sense. And you can talk to the mom of the student, just to get a clear idea of what the interactions were and how genuine she is. So, this is kind of ridiculous, and I have to say, so, do the right thing, and that's everybody's job. So, having said that, really, just once again, I'm in shock. I really have to say.
I tried to find out if somebody from this administration said anything to her new employer, and I could not find any evidence of any conversation. I'm just telling you. So it's not like we're just letting this stuff go. We're trying to find any evidence that that's true.
So the new employer is public health, and they told Brandy. So I think the world of her. They the supervisor of the West Nation Pods, anybody who works with her, believes in her. Even, I think that Scott Smith knows her personally and invited her and me to drive his son to school when he and his wife went, took a trip. So this is we have a really we had a close relationship. So this is really surprising. So I'm not sure exactly how this developed, but we're certainly in the dark like you. I certainly invite any questions.
Okay, thanks, Shirley. That went over, but we were conversing, so we had a little more time. And yeah, for me or the person speaking?
The person, everyone. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you all right, yeah.
Okay.
But the person speaking.
Okay. Brandy is up now. And then after that, Marlene Mendez.
Hello. I would like to start with answering Mr. Giles' question about two sides. And I'm happy to give you my contact for Kristen Elder, who is my supervisor at School Public Health. And I'll give you her phone number and her email so you can contact her and ask who it was. All that was said was it was Cayucos School Administration. They contacted School Public Health on the day, in fact, I was scheduled to go to Cambria School to work at their COVID and flu. Is that better?
Yeah.
Mr. Smith isn't even looking at me, but I was scheduled to go to Cambria to work at their COVID and flu vaccine, and my supervisor, Kristen Elders, called me into her office and said that she'd received a phone call from Cayucos School Administration and asked that I not attend their October 26th flu vaccine. She didn't want to discuss anything more with me other than it was a call from Cayucos Administration. But School Public Health would be very happy to talk to you about who called, why they called, and what was said, because that was a personnel issue and they handled it with grace. I felt like I needed to explain why Cayucos School would not want me here. And I explained to them some of the conditions and happenings that had gone on. Do you have questions for me about?
That's great.
Does anyone else have questions? You said there's two sides to the story, and welcoming to answer any questions you have.
I read through every piece in here as well. And, I read through everything that was in here. So thank you.
Thank you. If the person in which Mr. Smith was speaking about, in fact, wasn't myself, I'm sorry for them, but I haven't been here for 10 months, and having families reach out to me and share a recording of what was said and that they believed it was said about me was very hurtful. I don't think it was the right thing to do. And I don't believe I deserve that. I also don't believe that Roberta Held deserved the way she was spoken to in such a manner. I only am saying this because I really do hope for some healing here and some understanding. And I think everyone's having a hard time with a lot of things, but there should be a better communication so there isn't so much in the dark. And I'm happy to answer any questions about personnel issues that involve me at any time.
Okay, thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
Marlene Mendez is up. And the last speaker is Shelley's.
Chalice.
I was going to say that.
Hi, good evening, board and Superintendent Smith. To piggyback on Brandy Light, and I didn't know I was going to be doing this, but I do feel that since there was a public accusation made by Principal Smith, I believe there needs to be public apologies made also. Those are inappropriate and probably should have been done in private. On another note, I'm here to ask that the school board meetings be videotaped and put on the website. We're the only school district in the county that doesn't do that. This is not anything new or unusual. I was sad to hear that it was declined at the last board meeting, and I think that that's not appropriate. My cousin, Elaine Thompson, did a lot to fundraise, negotiate, work with contractors, and created the physical plant that this school is. And she knows that the community supported this. And so as a community member, I'm standing here saying we have a right to know what's going on in this school and at the school board meetings. And I know she would agree with me. So please let the community know what's going on. We have the technology. There's no reason to not do that. You know, when there are issues or problems, the more brains and the more people you have in the know, the more solutions you find. Keeping people in the dark is not the way to find solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. And then after that is Erica Torres.
I sent in a cheeky letter correspondence, and I am so sorry that I mentioned Mary's name. I should have just said someone because I did not mean to. I just want to go on record. I apologize. I apologize to Mary. I understand she got phone calls asking if she would spend the night, which I thought it was ridiculous enough to understand that. I'm serious about this.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. I'm Erica Torres. I'm a parent at Cayucos Elementary School, for people who may not know me. Last month, prior to the board meeting on October the 13th, we submitted to the board an extensive research on how other school boards in the districts around our county conduct their board meetings. And we requested that the school board begin to record our own school board meetings. It was a little bit disheartening last meeting to see that it appeared that few of you have actually read that information that was submitted to you, as was clear in the discussion that followed regarding that. Tonight, an action item has been added to the agenda to consider recording and it's my hope that a much more robust and informative discussion discussion will be held amongst the board about this topic. Help us understand the thought process on whatever vote may prevail tonight. You can see from the petition that we submitted, we've gathered over 150 signatures, as well as the support of the Cayucos Teachers Association for people who wish for the meetings to be recorded and available at a later time for viewing. And so we are definitely hoping that a yes vote will prevail tonight if that is in the best interest of serving the community. Regarding the concerns about things being taken out of context or used against, the recording of the meetings actually prevents that from happening, because then anyone can go back at any time and view the entire meetings in context. So those concerns were a little bit worrisome to hear voiced last meeting, because again, this is not about catching someone doing something wrong or taking things out of context. It's about permitting greater accessibility and inclusivity of the school board meeting. That is why this request is being made, and that's why you're hearing such a strong demand from the community. So lastly, I just want to again encourage a yes vote on what you'll be discussing later in the meeting. And furthermore, it would be fantastic, and this was not my idea, I can't take credit, but to have perhaps the 8th graders do some sort of set down and take up if you guys were to do recordings of meetings as sort of an introduction to public service, make them a part of this process. If that is a challenge of having people working the equipment, it could be a great learning opportunity for them. So just a suggestion if you do have a yes vote. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah. And was there other public comment? Valerie, is that it?
Sorry.
It's okay. Hi.
My name is Patty Wagner, and I am a grandparent here at Cayucos Elementary School. You guys may or may not remember, but I have sent a few emails specifically to the board acknowledging the how well Cayucos Elementary handles themselves. The staff is, it's like sending your kid to a private school, really. Congratulations, Liz. You did a great job. You really are. Thank you very much, Ms. Matthias. Throughout this time, we've seen the best and the worst of people. And I've still been really proud of Cayucos Elementary. But and I agree with Mike. It's scary when you don't know what's going to happen if you're taking that shot. You don't know what's going to happen to your kids. Are there reproductive issues? Are there not? I get all that. But what I don't get is an unprofessionalism. And I want you guys to remember you're elected officials. So you have to really remember to look at your constituents, to your base. If they don't agree with you, there's a reason. But Mr. Smith, I have never in my life, at almost 65 years old, seen somebody act. And I saw this on video. It's been circulating throughout the community. If you'd like to see it, I'm more than happy to send it to you. The lack of professionalism, you owe Roberta a huge apology. You owe this woman a huge apology. And I don't know what else the board can do, but something has to happen, because we can't continue to have the head of this school be the weakest link in our school. And so that's all I have to say. Everyone else was really nice. I have a tendency not to be quite as nice, a little more direct, but you guys need to do something. Thank you.
Thank you.
I read your whole letter. Patty, right, Wagner?
That's correct.
Yeah. And you went on to absolutely compliment the teachers, Liz, the staff, and then, of course, you ripped Scott pretty good in your letter.
Yeah.
If we have a problem at the school with Scott, your morale with the teachers, with Liz and everybody else would be down, and it's not. And I checked with Cambria to see if they were having problems, and they're not. They're extremely pleased with the work he's done. I want to mention in the 4 years that I watched him, the kids' scores have gone up. He's brought in remedial math, remedial reading, done a lot of great things for the school. But what I've also noticed is we're living in a time of COVID that's changed people a lot. I've seen friends no longer friends. We're talking, Mike, you bring up the vaccines. I got to tell you, the school district, we don't deal with that. You got to be talking to the state. You got to be talking to your legislature. You got to talk to people who can do something about it. I hope someday that we're able to, but we don't have any jurisdiction there. And for the last maybe 6 months, no, it's not even been that. August 4th, when this board made the mistake of passing the Let Them Breathe. We did it not as we're going to take masks off kids. We did it because we believe the kids should breathe. We don't like the mask, but we're not going to do or go against what the state or the health department has mandated that we have to do. We're going to follow the law. Wait, but I just want to point this out. Scott, I watch Scott. Everything he does is for the good of these children. Did he make a mistake? Yes. Last meeting, he made a big mistake. And that's been, you assume because we don't put things out on the air that we haven't dealt with it. It's been dealt with. I'll tell you that. But moving on, the amount of hate mail, now this goes back probably 4 months, the amount of hate mail, threats, intimidation that have been sent to the board, that have been sent to Scott. I don't know how he can live under the amount of crap that's been sent his way. Not only that, but this is citizens of Cayucos we're talking about that are sending the same stuff to Cambria. Cambria people aren't doing it. The citizens of Cambria aren't doing it. But people from Cayucos are going after, trying to destroy a man's life, literally destroy a man's life. And that to me is unconscionable. So I have no problems in criticizing people's work. I have no problem with him being under the microscope and us making sure we do our job to make sure he is doing things appropriately. And when he makes a mistake, and I got to tell you, I'm 73, I've made a ton of them. I've made a ton of mistakes, no question about it. But to sit there and say all the good things that have been happening, and we had a blowout night where somebody lost their cool, and say that's what we're going to judge 4 years worth, I can't abide by that. I can't abide by that because it's been going two ways. And it's disheartening to watch a community that I love and see so much anger in it all of a sudden, which has never been there. Never been there until COVID hit. Never been in this wonderful community until COVID hit. And I know everybody that's been attacked, I've heard nothing but compliments about it. I want you to know that. So when I tell you I try to investigate stuff, I look at it because I'm extremely concerned if there's something going rotten in the barrel. And I just think we're trying to get out of this COVID. We're on the edge. The kids are back to school. They're not at home, thank God. We're just dealing with some things that are very difficult. And I think my wish is that from this day forward, you've gotten to vent. You've gotten to say your piece. Give us a chance to move forward for the kids here. That's all. I just want to see us. Let's watch what everybody's activities, their actions are, and the decisions they're making moving forward. That's the only way we're going to know if anybody's learned anything from this. I admire the fact you guys all get together and have done what you've done. I want you to know that I've never seen it before. In all the years of being school board, and this is my second time around, never had we had this group of parents so involved. And I think it's wonderful. So don't confuse my tone sometimes with, I don't support you. There's certain protocols I feel we have to follow. That's it. And everybody's under the microscope. Everybody's been warned about how the behavior is going to be, what we're going to focus on, which is children's education, giving them the best education they can have. And we need to also, I forget words. I want to say make up. We need to get back and just talk to each other and get those relationships back and say, I'm sorry. There's no question about that. Okay? So I don't disagree with you, but I just want to point out we need to focus. And by the way, a lot of the letters talk about let them breathe and Scott putting that on the agenda. Scott did not put that on the agenda, and he didn't even vote for it. That was a board. And the next month we said we made a mistake and we rescinded it. It's like nobody's willing to say, Okay, thanks. No, we got pound and pound and pound by both sides. The ones that didn't like it and the ones who felt when we rescinded it were a bunch of weaklings. But it was a mistake. Look what it cost. And we recognize it. We recognize it.
Wait, Patty, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude, but just so it doesn't turn into free for all. You had your public comment, and
I'm done.
Okay. Okay. We've gone over. The board protocol is 20 minutes. We've gone over that. I'm fine extending it if the other members are fine. We have some more public comment.
Daniel, definitely. He gave me a couple days advance notice.
Oh,
It's public comment.
okay. You guys are fine with that, right, members? Yeah.
Good evening, board members. So my name is Daniel Pewitt. I'm a parent here. And, Mr. Stay, Mr. Deal, that Scott hasn't performed like that before, but I would have to disagree with you on that. Because if you remember back in the board meeting, and it wasn't recorded, he said that he wasn't going to be badgered by a parent when I was asking follow-up questions for why he was making a decision. Also, I emailed Mr. Scott March 24th asking him how to get an agenda item instead of just public comment so that we could have a discussion on something that I felt strongly about. Mr. Scott told me that public comment was the best way. So either his ignorance of the bylaws or his wanting to suppress his parents, I don't know which one it was, but he clearly didn't give me the answer of how to get an agenda item on there. And if you're trying to be transparent and have people, the community involved, I think recording would be a great idea.
Thank you.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or you got another poll?
We've got one more. Rocky Delamas.
Hey there, I'm Rocky Dayamas, and while I don't have children currently enrolled in this school, my two children, Jill and Malia, both attended Cayucos Elementary from K through 8th and are now both in college. So again, I want to thank you all. There's a couple new faces, some of you I've known for a while, but thank you for your time that's given to this school. As I know, more often than not, like tonight, you are in the hot seat, and it certainly is an easy position to be in. But as a constituent, I do hold you in high regard, and I trust that you will ensure that our school is maintained properly and that children in attendance are in an environment that promotes strength and support for students' academic, social, and emotional well-being. So again, I thank you all. It's been brought to my attention that you are reviewing a motion tonight to approve broadcasting and recording of board meetings. I've been informed that there is opposition to this, and I must be questioning your reasoning. It's my understanding that Cayucos School is the only school within the county that doesn't record their meetings. But I do believe in the past we used to, because I think I remember Hannah Held flipping those cassette tapes during meetings. To me, this is concerning, as I have to ask you all why you're not recording this. Is there something to hide? I've attended numerous board meetings in the past, be it the local Cayucos Citizens Advisory Council, Cayucos School Board meetings, endless of those. SLO County Board of Supervisors, California Coastal Commission, a lot of these entities record these meetings. I can't attend most of these meetings, so I do actually rely on these recordings. So I pull up the minutes and the videos and watch and listen to these. These recordings are instrumental in getting the entire picture regarding topics. Because of these recordings, there is absolutely no way in which something can be misconstrued or taken out of context. The evidence is right in front of you. It can be seen and heard, and there's no room for error. It's equivalent to one sitting here in this meeting, as I've heard concerns that with these recordings, things may be taken out of context. So I'm a bit perplexed, as it's the same as anyone sitting here live in this meeting could take something out of context. Therefore, you shouldn't let anyone allowed to sit and listen. It's the same thing. So through all of my years, I've found that pulling up the minutes is the best case scenario to take things out of context amid statements, facts, and opinions. The recorder and translator is just that, a translator. No matter how hard you try, there's going to be bias. There's going to be things taken away. Furthermore, minutes are snippets of conversations with extreme room for error and taking things out of context. The topic isn't presented in its entirety. It's been more than frustrating that while I was in attendance of a meeting and then at a later date, seeing the minutes, pertinent information that I know I heard at that meeting is not included within those minutes. As the school board, it is your civic duty and obligation to the community, your constituents, to be beyond 100% transparent. Recording these meetings and allowing the public to see these meetings is the only way in which this can be satisfied. Furthermore, these recordings also allow those who are unable to attend, like myself, I had to take off work early tonight to be here, to the ability to listen to the meetings and be kept abreast on the happenings within our school. Not recording them is a disservice to our community. Remember, a good school board member is responsible to their constituents. You have a commitment to serving the public. We voted you in. So the behavior of the board demonstrates that public meetings, how well they work as a team, and the relationships that members have with your district's teachers, the administrators, and the families, and the community at large. They add up to the climate of a community's public education. As you know, transparency and accountability is paramount at the school board. I urge you to approve the recording of and the broadcasting of your school board meetings, as well as keeping them on file for some time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that was it. That will be the end of public comment.
May I?
Yeah.
So first off, 5 years, October 1. That's how long I've been here. And so when I came to this district, all the parents were in a heightened sense of concern regarding what happens when they're high schoolers turn high school age, and where do they go? And can they get into Morro Bay High School? And I saw how difficult it was on the parents. So I dug in deep. And found a way for us to do that IDT so that all the Cayucos parents can have the school of their choice. They could choose my alma mater, Coast Union, is the warmest jacket I have, so I wore it tonight, or Morro Bay High School for their students. Digging in deep, doing that hard work, I made a lot of enemies around this county. Enemies in other school districts. Unfortunately, a lot of people in town weren't happy with how I did it. But because people wanted it so bad, I dug deep and did it the only way I could find to do it. So at this point, when your students graduate 8th grade, you get a choice. Most of the time, I give all the kudos to the team. Liz and what she does here, the teachers and what they do here, the aides. It ain't me that gets to love on your kids every day. It's them. But when it came down to that IDT deal, that was all me. I'm the one that had to drag that across the finish line. And it was a privilege to do so because I'm a proud Falcon and I believe in parent choice. But along the way, it was a very difficult process. Very difficult process. And I know some of you remember. As far as last week, what's in my heart for Mrs. Held is not the way I spoke to her. So I apologize. What's in my heart for Brandy isn't reflective of those comments either. So instead of giving up because that process of getting the IDT MOU in place to give parents a choice where to send their kids to high school and it being so difficult and traumatic, frankly, on me, I regrouped. I said, I'm not giving up on my alma mater and set about the next tasks with the priority always being, how do we maintain student achievement? How do we increase student achievement? How do we increase student emotional well-being? While trying to spin some other things off in the background, which a lot of small school district superintendents never bother to do. Because after you're done with the school, these other things often can be left behind. but I chose not to. I sunk my teeth into the solar and lighting project. I sunk my teeth into what's the current classroom project. And between now and then, I had to sink my teeth into all the COVID changes, the constant COVID changes. Again, not an easy task. All of it was worth it when I saw how well all of your students did on the state testing last year coming out of distance learning. I'd venture to say, I know for sure we outperformed every other district in this county. But I venture to say we outperformed probably 95% of the school districts in this state because of the efforts of Liz, the staff, and all you parents during distance learning. I'm proud of the IDT MOU. I'm proud of student achievement. And I'm proud that within the next couple months, we're going to finish this upper facility and we'll be able to serve kids even better. But when I came here 5 years ago, I was warned that this is a very difficult place to work. And I thought, you know what? It's my alma mater. It's going to be okay. Well, it's been pretty difficult. And I'm thankful for the 5 years of getting to serve Cayucos kids. So whatever comes next, I'm proud of the work I've done here. At times, have I made mistakes with people in situations? Absolutely. But whatever happens, I'm going to walk away proud of what I've done here. Because while I was spinning these plates in the background, the IDT MOU that took 2 years, I always stayed focused on making sure that we were helping kids as our number one priority. So yeah, I'm not perfect. And that's where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you. Since everybody's talking, Liz, did you want to say something? Go ahead.
She needs a microphone.
I think I need a,
Yeah, you do. They won't be able to hear you online if you don't use a mic.
I just wanted to say a couple of things. Thank you all for being here and taking time to be here, because I know it does take a lot of time, and for your support. I want everybody to know that our kids are thriving here at school. It's been a hard couple of years for them. It's been a really hard couple of years for our teachers. People are working really hard to make sure that our kids are thriving here. And they are. They're coming back. They've done a really fabulous job. Have they had their moments? Had we had our moments? Absolutely. But they're starting to thrive and really come back as students, as learners, as people, and learning how to be respectful and kind on campus. And it's been kind of a heavy road. There's a lot of, we call them, well, I do, call them feral cats. They've had 2 years of running around all over the place, doing what they want, when they want. And now that we're all back, it's hard for us to, it was hard for everybody, the students to come back to school full day. It's hard for the teachers, you eat only at a break. You can't eat when you want, can't go to the bathroom when you want, that kind of stuff. But I do want you to know that we are progressing. And yes, we have our moments, but we are really trying hard to make sure that all of our kids, because this is about the kids, to make sure that they are thriving. That takes a whole group. It takes everybody from our little tiny people working hard. It takes our assistants, our faculty and staff to really thrive. And they have to have the support of the administration and campus. And they have our support. We have everything that we need to help our students. We have all the little pieces that we need to make sure that they are safe. And I want to thank Scott for, if I know that sometimes he's not here all the time. However, he's a phone call away. He'll bring his car down here. He'll get on the phone and say, yes, you can do that, Liz. No, we got to think about that, whatever it is, because sometimes they go off the rail and ask for things that are pretty outlandish. He knows that. But as a whole, it hasn't been an easy road and certainly an unprecedented time that we've been in. But I think that as our students remember how to converse, we remember how to converse, getting back into the routine, everybody is starting to blossom and making it a little bit easier every day for everybody, even though we do have our moments. But I do want to say this doesn't happen miraculously. It doesn't just pop in and it doesn't happen in a bubble. It is a team effort. So everybody working together makes it a happy place to come to work. Every day I get to see smiley little faces running to class because they're so excited to come to class, whether it is a tiny little 4-year-old or one of our large 14-year-olds. They're glad to be back. They're glad to be back here. There's a semblance of normalcy, I guess, a schedule that I think may have been lacking because it was so hard. We're going to continue to provide a place that I like to tell the kids, you need to be kind, respectful, no matter what their opinions are, be able to hear each other and respond to each other in a manner that is not hurtful. And sometimes that's very difficult because especially during this time, they've been able to talk to each other kind of any way they want to out there. And so the words are flying all over the place. So we've had a lot of language issues, but it is getting better. But without all of us supporting each other, it won't continue to be successful, and we won't continue to be flourishing and indeed providing a school where students are welcomed, inspired, and challenged, like it says on our letterhead, and what we do here. I just want to thank you all for your support and know that we are working really hard, teachers especially, are working really hard to help the kids reassimilate into some kind of a schedule and really learn what they need to learn when they leave here. Catching up, yes, we've got some gaps, but they worked really hard to make sure that during distance learning, those kids were as engaged as we could possibly get them engaged. So thank you all again. Thank you, Scott, for your support. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Liz. I have a couple of comments. Just we, of course, have been getting a lot of correspondence lately, and I do read it all. And I wanted to just comment on the recording or broadcasting, because I think some people got the idea that we were doing this and then we just stopped doing it. I've been on the board for just over 3 years and it hasn't been going on. So I'm not saying that's good or bad. It hasn't been in place. Also, Roberta did do some work and gather information on what the other schools were doing. And my no vote last time wasn't against that. It was, we didn't discuss the mechanics of how it would work. And that's my own ignorance, because actually it's pretty simple. You can see when you look at it. But we didn't really discuss exactly what we were going to do. So anyway, just wanted to say that. And also that we haven't been, it's not something we just changed. As far as personnel issues, Scott, if it's something that I should know, usually makes me aware. And so I was aware of what happened. I think that when it's two people, maybe comments are made that they don't mean, or it's misunderstood. But I'll say this, I've known Scott for over 50 years, 50. And if he tells me that something happened, it 100% happened. So anyway, Thanks for everybody's comments. I appreciate everybody being here. Okay, moving on. Meeting minutes. I don't know if any members have any comments on meeting minutes last meeting. If not, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from October 13th.
I just have one thing I just think
Yeah.
of minutes. We when we first started, we had a little bit more meat in there where we can try and do a little bit more in addition to the
Sure, I'd be happy to ramp that up.
make it a little bit easier for us to review.
Mike.
I'd like to see if people are details in our minutes than what we've had. We've kind of, we've kind of gone back on that a little bit to add a little bit more.
Sure.
So when we review and when the public reviews, we get a little bit more.
Okay.
Sure, we can ramp
Good
that
point.
up.
Thank you.
Okay, so I made a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Second.
There you go.
Trustee Castillo.
Aye.
Trustee Schuler.
Aye.
Trustee Dial.
Aye.
Trustee Brownell.
Aye.
Trustee Wright.
Aye.
Okay, we agreed to skip section 4 just because we're outside and it's cold. So we have board member reports. Any members have anything to report out?
I'll report out the,
Mike.
Microphone.
I went to the play of Winnie the Pooh and it was super cute and it was a lot of fun. So good job, Victoria and the kids that participated in that. It's great.
Thank you. I was gonna say I did make it to the Harvest Festival and it was beautiful weather. It was good to see all the kids running around having a fun time. So good food, fun day. That's really about it for me. Anyone else? No. Superintendent report.
I think the most important thing that would be relevant right now for all the stakeholders is that we are running interviews for the principalship at Coast Union this Friday. So I hope to be relieved of those duties soon. That's all I have.
Okay. Interdistrict transfers. If there's any comments on that?
There was none.
None. Okay, the other thing which I had mentioned before, we have our board meeting calendar for 2022. So that's just for the members' reference. We can discuss next meeting. Take a look at that. Okay, section 6, consent agenda. Any members have any comments, questions on anything on there?
We make a motion whether we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Right?
Aye.
Trustee Schuler.
Aye.
Trustee Brownell.
Aye.
Trustee Castillo.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, into the action session. So 7.1, review approved broadcasting recording of board meetings. Yeah, staff report on that, please.
Yeah. First, I'd like to make a motion that we approve broadcasting recording the board meetings.
Well, hold on, let's, we have
Because the discussion comes after the motion.
staff report. We're going to talk about it?
That's okay.
Okay.
You need a second, though.
So wait. Let's just clarify. So we're going to record, broadcast, and archive, correct?
It doesn't say archive here.
Okay, well, that's a lot of what I know people were asking for in that correspondence.
The options are listed in the public.
Yeah, this version of the agenda doesn't show those details. So we need a full detailed one next time.
Okay, so archive, is it included in that?
If I may, it would be one, does the board want to broadcast the meetings? 2, does the board want to record the meetings? And 3, how long does the board want to retain those recordings? So if we could maybe get a second, move to discussion, and then maybe Trustee Kyle would like to do a friendly amendment to his motion to reflect what the board discussion is. I might suggest.
I'll second the motion.
Make an amendment to include archiving.
So typically what I saw from the list was 90 days. Okay, you're all right with that?
Well, it's going to be on a disk. In other words, how are we going to archive it?
So essentially we post it on our website. And then after whatever the retention timeline is, some districts do 30, some 60, some 90, some retain permanently. So if we're retaining them permanently, in theory, it would be up on the website, but with website issues at times and things, you can't really rely on that. So we'd have to find another electronic medium to have a backup of those files. My suggestion would be either 30, 60, or 90 days.
Well, I would be for the longest period there.
So 90 days seems pretty typical from what other schools are doing. You have a comment, Pete?
I just it seems a little short. I was thinking it'd be longer than that, or I don't know if permanent's there, but I would think at least length of our terms, at least 4 years. I would think that would be. Yeah, I think so. Off the top of my head, when I read that, I was thinking, how long would it be a decent time to archive? And minimal would be at least the length of our terms.
It doesn't really matter to me. That's just from the technology standpoint.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, so don't forget though, we're going to have the written minutes, which should match the archive minutes. So, well, we haven't even started it yet. So let's not criticize it until we screw up.
I would mention though that if we are, the other thing is that it would be best if it was included in your motion on whether you want audio or audio and video, because audio video files are much larger than the audio files.
You don't have audio, you don't know what's being said. You got to have
right. You got to have at least the audio.
I don't know if you necessarily need video.
It would be easier for people to download them off of the website if they're just the audio file. Once they are the video file from Zoom, we could look into compression or something, but they get pretty large from my experience in Cambria. I think especially if we're loading them on a web page and they're staying for 4 years, I think it should be probably audio only.
Well, maybe we can negotiate the time down to 120 days. I mean, if somebody wants to see it, that gives you what, 4 months to look at the meeting if you're interested. And then there's something there you want to keep yourself, you can download it. I would think the audio would be the way to go, only because I would not be able to download onto my computer the video and the audio, and it probably wouldn't open. And you want to make sure people can open it and hear what went on. So that's all I know.
How about we go 4 months and video and audio? I think that adds a little bit something more context of it. We're negotiating this. We're negotiating
this. I talked to Ron Wilson, who was a board member, and he had said that historically, being a history teacher, I had heard that there's somewhere in the school that there are some cassettes hidden that have the meetings. It would seem to me that if you're going to store them or you're going to hold them, probably the school year would make the most sense. And then after that school year, then you would probably want to destroy them and start a new year. If for anything that we could look back at it and see what we said and see that, we've made a decision maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago, and that decision may be important. So I would say at least a school year.
Anyone? It doesn't matter to me.
Well,
just can we easily do it?
So 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
12 months, I think, would be clearer for us than
But
school
it'd be
year.
a rolling 12 months.
Right. So you could go
it'd
back
be
and
the
look
school
at,
year.
right.
It'd be a rolling. You just drop 1 month and add one. Yeah. I'm good with that.
So we're at 12 months audio and video. Correct?
Yeah. Okay. If there's not any other comments, we can call a vote.
Motion to approve?
We got a motion in a second.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. So we got.
Trustee Wright?
Aye.
Trustee Brownell?
Aye.
Trustee Lyle?
Aye.
Trustee Castillo?
Aye. Okay. Let's see. We have resolution 2021-13, fund to transfer for van purchase.
So, as you know, at the end of every fiscal year, we've been setting aside some money and doing transfers into our transportation fund. And the board approved the purchase of the van. We brought that proposal forward and we expect to receive the van in the next few weeks. What we're asking you to approve tonight would transfer the money back from the transportation fund to the general fund so we can spend that money on the van.
Any members have questions, comments?
No, I just have a comment. I'm super excited for the school to get one because I remember hauling a bunch of basketball boys over to games in my car. So, but I also got to use the van one time. And anyway, I'm super excited that the school is getting an extra vehicle. Oh, and I'm making a motion to approve the price tag of the new van.
And
Trustee Castillo?
Aye.
Trustee Schuler?
Aye.
Trustee Wright?
Aye.
Trustee Lyle?
Aye.
Trustee Brownell?
Aye.
Okay, 7.3, security system upgrade. Did you want to make any comments on that?
Sure. So we've had a security system around here for quite a while. Our cameras are older and they're not very high resolution. And so this would upgrade that so that if there is ever vandalism, fortunately, we very rarely have vandalism, but if there is vandalism, we can actually see who did it instead of a blur because the resolution on our current camera system isn't high enough. This was requested by our principal and the quote was sought by our MOT manager, Ismail, and they brought this forward asking for your approval. I believe the dollar amount on it was $13,000. So significant cost, but to upgrade those from the type they were to what would be considered now sitting on our IP network would be a big upgrade.
where are the funds coming from?
This would be hitting general fund.
Okay.
Could I get just a little more elaboration on why you're requesting it, Principal Villalobos?
Well, occasionally we have things happen. One of the things that happened not too long ago, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take Liz's microphone, but is, things like that garbage can was moved over here. They used it to climb up and get on the gutters and break the roof tiles. And so it's not bad vandalism. It's, for the most part, people fooling around. But occasionally we have things happening around here, and when they're breaking those roof tiles, it's kind of a big deal. We have gone up and done all the repairs, but they're difficult to replace when they're cracked. So you end up having to just repair what's there. So that's the main thing that's occurred. It's not a ton of stuff. Liz, you want to share something else?
In some instances where students are trying to get into classrooms, we had that TikTok thing going on for a while where we did have some pretty significant damage done. Significant damage done, things torn off the walls, all the board done.
Significant damage in the bathrooms, things torn off the walls, thrown in the toilets. And we weren't able to see exactly who it was because it was just a blur. It would have helped to be able to kind of at least get a better picture of who it might have been to do that. But they're trying to get up, and there's places they can go they know about. So it would just help so we can see better. A little safety issue.
Did you guys get any other quotes on upgrading, or is this?
No, because
this the best one?
This is a specialty item with a local company that we have a working relationship with and is reputable. Because it's a specialty item, we didn't go out and get multiple bids on it, no.
You feel comfortable with the price?
Seems pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah, these things are very pricey, and I was surprised it came in that low, frankly.
Oh, okay.
How many cameras are we talking about? How many cameras?
8. Well, it's upgradable to 16, I think, the recording.
All right.
I'd like to make a comment. I've been around a lot of schools in the past 2 weeks, and everybody is talking about vandalism at their school. And if you've read the newspaper recently at Paso Robles, and now Templeton, I just got back from there tonight, same situation there. Vandalism is at an all-time high, and it's costing a fortune for schools to recoup from it. Not to mention how students feel when they come to a school that's been vandalized like Paso Robles did.
Well,
I make a motion we approve the security system upgrade.
I'll second that.
Trustee Brunel?
Aye.
Trustee Bright?
Aye.
Trustee Theo?
Aye.
Trustee Dial?
Aye.
Trustee
Aye. Okay, I don't believe we have anything for Section 8. So with that, I think we're going to go into closed session. We will report out after closed session, but we do have a few different things to discuss. So I hate to make people wait out in the cold, but certainly welcome to it. Well,
the gym.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we'll adjourn for close. Take your step. Thank you, everybody, for taking off for being here. Appreciate it.